You're listening to the Chad Hasty Show on demand. Good for you. Now download the KFYO app and listen live weekday afternoons 5 to 7 p.m. Central.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, and Wichita Falls, Dallas, Fort Worth, Midland, Odessa, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be listening on this Thursday, July 18th. We're moving quite quickly through the month of July. Tonight, the big speech by former President Donald Trump. Who's looking forward to that? After a really good speech last night by J.D. Vance, some other great speeches as well last night. A great, really a sad moment, but a great moment when you had the Gold Star families who stood up and really just, they read the names of the 13 soldiers who were killed in Afghanistan, and really showed a lot about the lack of empathy, lack of care from the Biden administration. But the fact that you had the participants, the delegates in the hall last night, repeating the names of those who had died in Afghanistan was quite something. It was quite a moment during the convention. This has been an excellent RNC convention. The biggest complaint that I hear is from people who just want to watch the speeches and they don't care about the talking heads. They don't want the they want to watch. They want to watch all the speeches, and they don't care what some of the hosts have to say. And sadly, it is. Unless you're watching C-SPAN, that's pretty much what you get. You're going to have some of the speeches that get aired live. There have been some excellent speeches that most of the nation will never hear. Even most of those people who have been paying attention to the RNC, they won't get to see, and they won't get to hear unless they search for it on YouTube a little bit later on. So there have been some great speeches. There will be some more speeches this evening. Hulk Hogan will be giving a speech tonight. How about that? Yeah, for all the wrestling fans who are out there. Nick, you know who Hulk Hogan is, right? Okay. Yeah, he'll be giving a speech this evening. And so that'll be something to look out for. Trump expected to speak right around 9 o'clock or so this evening. And that'll be one that a lot of people are watching. Meanwhile, the Democrats are in disarray. You have more and more stories coming out today that not only does Joe have COVID, but the walls are closing in on Joe Biden as the Democrats are looking to overthrow Joe, which lends itself to a few different questions, which is, one, if Joe's not good enough, healthy enough, smart enough, has it all together enough to be a candidate, should he resign? as president of the United States? That would be a question that Democrats have to answer. If he's not good enough, healthy enough, altogether enough to be a candidate, then should he really be president of the United States? Do you trust him in the Oval Office? And watch how the back and forth, goes on that answer from the Democrats. Also, do you just hand it off to Kamala and say, here you go, don't wreck the car. Don't wreck it even more than it's already been wrecked. Or do the Democrats have a short primary and see who they upset that way? Again, it looks like this will be a very pivotal weekend for the Democrats as, like I said yesterday, they care about winning. They want to win. They have no allegiance whatsoever to Joe Biden. And again, it has to be said, and it should be said after they get rid of Joe, which I hope they don't. I hope that I hope that Joe stays in the race because he's an absolute disaster. But this idea that Democrats are just now realizing that Joe is this bad off, the Democrats should be ashamed of themselves. They have known since the beginning, since he ran for office, of his diminished capabilities. Just a week, 2 weeks ago, Democrats were saying Joe's fine, Joe's healthy, Joe is healthier than Donald Trump. And those of us who have been paying attention have known that that has been an absolute lie. The Democrats have really committed a fraud on the American people. And the American people should be very, very upset by it. So we'll get into that today here on the program. We've also, of course, have our friends over at the Texan News who will join us. We've got Holly Hansen who will be joining the program coming up at 5:35. We've got some local headlines as well to get into throughout the program. Of course, we always want to hear from you. You can text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. When you text in, let us know, give us a name. Also, let us know where you're listening from. That way we can give you the proper shout out. You can also give us a call at 1-800-687-0790. That's 1-800-687-0790. The first voice you hear from when you dial in. He's kind of the employee of the month around here. Nick, how are you today?
You'd never guess that's the case, but no, I'm doing good, doing okay.
Yeah.
So far.
How's the air conditioning?
It's trying. It's trying.
They haven't fixed it, huh?
No, they haven't fixed it.
Okay.
It's still down. But we press onward. We press forward with that. Actually, you mentioned what was it? Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Earlier, and you asked if I knew him, which shockingly I do know who Hulk Hogan is.
Yeah.
In fact, I watched recently body cam footage of his. It wasn't him. It was his son.
Yeah.
His son got pulled over for, I think he was drunk or under the influence.
Yes.
He got pulled over, and it's so interesting seeing big names on camera, but not when it's planned and not when there's, big press all about it and it's a big production. It's just like, oh, that's just him. He's just a guy.
He's just a guy. Yeah. He's just a dude.
And this particular video was, it was probably, I think, 11 p.m., maybe even past midnight. It was very late.
Yeah.
And police, you watch the body cam, police pull this guy over. He's probably in his 30s. And it turns out it's Hulk Hogan's son. And he ends up calling his dad to come by.
Which is just sad.
he called. What now? I don't know if it was him or he had a girl with him. I don't know I think they were married. I don't know. So his wife. I don't know if she's the one who called him, but he was contacted. He came by and he was just in like a sweatpants.
Sure.
He had a walking stick.
What's going on, brother?
Yeah. He looked very tired.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah.
And so you see him talk. The cop whose body cam footage you're watching.
Yeah.
He walks over and they just start talking. And he's like, "So what did you get pulled over for? And so what's going on over here?" And then so they're talking back and forth. Like, yeah, he blew a 0.0 or 0.1 something. It was pretty high for the alcohol content. And so they're talking back and forth. And Hulk Hogan is just like he's really cool about it. He's like, "Oh man, he shouldn't have done that. I should have trained him or something." He's really nice. He works with the cops. He doesn't try to bust his son out of it and fight the cops about it.
No.
He's like he chose this. He chose to drive.
He's like, "All right, brother."
And yeah. He said brother all the time.
Waking me up for this.
Yeah. Actually, he said he just got done working out. His exact words, I think, were he just finished arms. And so he just decided he got the call right when he finished his workout. So he decided he drove halfway across town to go witness his son be arrested. So very fun video. I recommend it. I think if you look up Hulk Hogan body cam footage, hopefully that'll take you to the right video.
No, I did. I saw that video a while back, and
it's a good one.
And I went, well, there's Hulk Hogan being like, well, all right, just being a dad, just being he screwed up.
Yeah, I love the little side conversations that they have too, because you can tell the cop is a big fan, but he's like trying to hide it because he's on the job.
Yes.
So you see, he's like antsy. He's like fumbling his words. Like he's getting real excited.
He's
talking
doing a little
to Hulk
fangirling right there. He's just like, "Hi, Mr. Hogan."
And I mean, I'd probably do the same. I mean, if I'm at Hulk Hogan at 11 p.m. and I just pulled his son over, I'd try to be nice.
Be like, "Don't hurt me."
Yeah,
please.
Yeah,
I've seen video.
Yeah. 30 years of it, or however long he's been on.
He's been out there for a while. So he'll be speaking tonight, which brings us because Hulk Hogan was maybe, is it safe to say that he was a childhood hero for a lot of folks? Well, I mean, is that safe to say, a childhood hero? So we ask you this: your running topic today from the entertainment industry, whether it's sports, whether it's just TV characters, whatever. Your childhood entertainment heroes, TV, sports, whatever they may be. Who were your entertainment heroes when you were growing up? You were a kid. Maybe you had a poster of them on the wall. You always watched. Maybe it was John Wayne. A lot of people out there loving John Wayne. I already know. That's going to be a big answer with the audience. Who is your childhood entertainment hero? And the reason I ask this is and I put it the entertainment route is because I know we'll get some of you who you go with the right answer. You go with dad, mom, and dad. No. We stay off the mushy stuff today. We're going entertainment. Who was a entertainment? Sports, again, TV, movies. Who is a childhood hero of yours in the entertainment industry? You can text in at 806-680-2790. When we come back, the latest on Biden and the Democrats moving forward. What is going to happen? We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Heads up, Texas. so you don't hit my car when I'm sitting at a stoplight.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can ride my bike safely.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can make it across the street without getting run over.
Heads up, Texas.
So I don't have to write you a ticket.
Heads up, Texas. Because driving and using your phone is a bad combination. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
Back on the Chad Hasty Show. So, Mark Halperin over on Newsmax. If you don't know who Mark Halperin is, he's very tied in with politicos in the Democrat Party in particular, and did a show on HBO, all that kind of good stuff about modern day politics and the road to the White House, all that kind of good stuff. So he's very tied in. He is just reported this about 12 minutes ago on Newsmax.
Carl, according to multiple Democratic sources, this is happening all of a sudden. Everyone said it would happen gradually and then all at once, and that's what's happening. According to my sources, President Biden has agreed to step down as the Democratic nominee.
Oh, man.
It will happen as early as this weekend. A speech has been drafted for him. He will continue on as president, is his intention. He also will not, I'm told, endorse Vice President Harris as his successor. They're hoping that he will endorse an open process in which the convention will be open to Vice President Harris and a few other candidates in Chicago to pick the Democratic nominee for president. The belief is that Vice President Harris is already looking at potential running mates to go to Chicago with a full ticket, including one possibility, Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, and perhaps the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor Shapiro. Other possible candidates who are being talked about include Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, perhaps Gretchen Whitmer, and again, the vice president running. On the first ballot, the regular delegates would be allowed to vote under this agreement that's being talked about amongst the president and high-level Democrat officials. The regular delegates would vote on the first ballot. If there is no winner on the first ballot, the so-called super delegates would be allowed to vote on the subsequent ballot. This decision was reached, I'm told, all of a sudden because of the high-level pressure from Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and others, and as well as the decision of many of the President Biden's top aides that there was no path forward for him, that he would not be able to win this election, win the general election, and therefore he's stepping aside again as early as this weekend.
All right, so we cut it off there. So that's out of Newsmax today. There's at least Mark Halperin reporting that much, which again would not be a surprise to anyone at this point. If the speech has been written, Biden announces this weekend. Now, there's a few different places we're going to go on this. Because one, remember, Kamala Harris was selected because Biden promised a black vice president. I mean, he did. I mean, that he promised a female vice president. She was a DEI hire. And he's not going to endorse her. If that's true, this idea of a Democrat primary, let me tell you something, folks. I think this is going to destroy, not completely destroy, but this will unravel the Democrat Party. Because not only have they taken the decision away from the voters. Now, this is a great class in how elections really work and how the party system works and how conventions work. But they have effectively taken the decision away from the voters of the Democrat Party. They lied to the voters of the Democrat Party and they said, this guy's healthy. This guy is going to be just fine. He has no problems whatsoever. He can run the nation. He can run again, and he can be reelected. I mean, just look how they treated RFK Jr. And then you've got Kamala Harris, who is his vice president, and he won't endorse her. He chose her to unite, quote unquote, the Democrat Party. And now you've got Joe going, hey, never mind. This is just after he said a black job is being vice president. A black job is being president. And instead we're going to go to an open primary, which, again, in some ways may be a little bit more fair to the other people. And it may be more fair to the delegates rather than just telling them you're stuck with Kamala. But for the average Democrat out there, they should be pissed. When we come back, we'll get some statewide news with Holly Hansen of the Texan. And we'll get back into this breaking news story. The downfall of Joe Biden. We'll be right back.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related deaths among veterans. But screening can save lives because lung cancer is most treatable when caught early. For eligible veterans, annual lung cancer screening is free with no copay. Learn more about lung cancer screening at cancer.va.gov or talk with your primary care provider.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. Chad Hasty, talking the news. At the start, middle, and end of your drive home, and when news breaks. This is the Chad Hasty Show.
All right. Back on the Chad Hasty Show. So we gave you the breaking news through Newsmax from Mark Halpern. And he could be wrong. He could be wrong. Biden may decide not to step out. I mean, who knows? This thing isn't a done deal yet. But now you have the Washington Post reporting. Nancy Pelosi has told House Democrats that Biden may soon be persuaded to exit the race. Now, again, would it happen this weekend? That's what many are saying, is that this could all line up and happen this weekend. Which, again, would be just, I mean, be an amazing timeline here. And does Biden come out and give a speech? I mean, he's got COVID, my goodness. If he actually has COVID. But, they say he's got COVID. So do you wait until he's out of isolation to announce that you're not running? And again, this should be a reminder to the Democrat voters out there. Your party knew about this. The Democrat Party, they knew how bad Joe was. They knew how bad in health he was, how he's just been on a mental decline. They've known about this for years. They hid it from you. The media lied to you about Joe Biden's health. And now, most likely, Joe Biden's not going to be the nominee, and the individual voters out there, you will have no say in who your nominee is. And the Democrats still go around saying that they are the party for the people, that they care about the individual people, that the Republicans don't. Republicans had a primary. The Democrats, well, we'll get into their history in just a little bit. We turn our attention to statewide news because there is a lot of statewide news that's going on. And we go out to our good friends over at the Texan .news. Holly Hansen joining us once again. Holly, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. It's quite a day out there. And there's also a lot of statewide news that's going on as well.
Right. That's right. And, I know. I heard you talking about the big news that we're all buzzing about right now, but we do have a lot of things going on here in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Here in the Houston area, which is where I'm located, we had that terrible hurricane and had an extended power outage that, lasted a lot longer and infected more people than we ever anticipated. And it was just a Category 1 storm. So, there's going to be an investigation, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick announced this week that he's created a special Senate committee to review the actions taken by CenterPoint Energy, for the most part, and a few of the other energy companies in the area, because it just doesn't seem like they were prepared. We're also looking at an investigation from the Public Utilities Commission of Texas. And, CenterPoint Energy is asking for the permission from the state to pass along some costs to customers for investments over the past few years. And if they're found to be negligent, they may be rejected on that request. People are not happy. And we have had some heat-related deaths because of the lack of power here in the Houston area. Very serious problem.
Well, and I know the Lieutenant Governor is obviously very upset about this, has been since the hurricane went through and since so much of the power has been out. I think there's still, thousands of people who are still without power. Is that correct?
That's correct. We started off with about 2.26 million customers that were without power. That's a huge amount. And it took the company quite some time to get the crews working and in place. They said they were a little caught off guard by the location that Hurricane Beryl made landfall. But the Lieutenant Governor and the Mayor of Houston have all said, this is the Gulf Coast of Texas. Hurricanes are unpredictable and you should always be prepared. We had nursing homes and hospitals that didn't have power. And it's just really taken a long time for them to get it restored. There are some customers who are estimated not to have power restored until this Friday, so almost 2 weeks after the storm made landfall.
Wow. So this new committee that has been formed, I guess what the Lieutenant Governor just wants to have a further look into what went wrong and why, right?
Right. Yes, they want to take a look at it. Now, there is one other aspect that's kind of interesting. The Biden administration last year rejected a request from CenterPoint Energy for a $100 million grant that would have strengthen transmission lines. We're not quite sure why that request was rejected, so that could play a part in this investigation. But people are mostly pretty upset with CenterPoint and CenterPoint's leadership at the moment because they just don't seem like they manage the vegetation around their transmission lines, and that was a huge part of the problem, was falling vegetation that knocked out these power lines and these aging poles.
Yeah. Well, another big story that's out there, obviously, with the with what happened this past Saturday, political rhetoric is being talked about, and you have Texas lawmakers who are wanting a investigation into political rhetoric.
That's right. We have some Texas House members who are asking Congress to take a look into political rhetoric that preceded that assassination attempt. They have sent a letter to the chair of the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, James Comer. They're thanking him for the investigation. He's already announced that he's, trying to understand how this attempt was able to occur and wants to make sure it doesn't happen again. But in this letter, which is signed by 30 elected state representatives and some of the Republican nominees led by Texas Rep. Ellen Troxclair of Lakeway, Texas, they want the Oversight Committee to also look at that political rhetoric that's being used in this presidential campaign and how it may be contributing to a rising threat of political violence. To quote from the letter, it says, "We've been inundated with hyperbole of late, including grotesque depictions of President Trump and the tens of millions of fellow Americans that support him as enemies or threats to democracy." So these lawmakers are saying they support the constitutional right to free speech, but they're worried about this constant, what they're calling flammable rhetoric, and the tangible detrimental impact on the country. Where that goes is hard to say, right? But I think probably what will more likely to get out of that committee is analysis of what led up to this assassination, and as far as logistics and so forth.
Yeah, and then another big story over at the Texan .news. It seems if Harris County isn't in the news, then it always seems like high-speed rail is in the news.
Right. And yeah, it's Houston. And in this case, this is more Dallas-oriented. Last month, the Dallas City Council unanimously passed a resolution in opposition to this planned elevated high-speed rail route that would go through downtown Dallas to connect to Fort Worth. And they called for a pause. They called for a new economic impact analysis. So this is part of this larger plan to create this network of high-speed rail. But just that segment is projected to cost about $6 billion.
Jeez.
Now, the city is balking about the route. So there was this workshop this week with the Regional Transportation Council and the North Central Texas Council of Governments to consider some alternate routes. And one of the possibilities would run west of the downtown, but it excludes connections to the K. Bailey Hutchison Convention Center and the Union Station for other Amtrak and light rail connections and the Convention Center hotels. So it's problematic. There's also some design and engineering questions about interactions with the highway overpasses and the historic aqueduct that's in the area. Mm-hmm. If they change it, it could trigger a whole new environmental impact study, which would further delay the progress and probably increase the cost. So, one of the points of contention, I'll just add, is that, they don't really... They're not agreeing on the projection of riders. So they're saying, it's going to carry 15,000 to 30,000 people per day. But these projections often don't bear out on the other rail projects. So, TexRail, for example, was originally estimated to have 8,300 riders per day and 250,000 per month. But in June, they just had over 2,000 riders a day on the weekdays. So it's falling short. So, there's a lot of questions about whether or not this high-speed rail project is going to happen. They're going to meet again in August and September. So we'll have to wait to find out which route is approved But, these projects are very expensive, and it's not clear that they're really going to bring the benefit that is sold, we'll say, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at just a couple of thoughts just off the top of my head is that we're not New Yorkers. We're not, we like our cars. We like our privacy. It's just that you have some of these park and ride areas that are set up across some of these highways. And I drive by sometimes in the Metroplex and in other places, and they're very desolate. But people don't want to. They don't want that. And then I was very young when they did the DART light rail, and they were trying to connect that from Dallas to Fort Worth, and of course that never happened.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you too, here in Houston, we have this problem quite a bit where we're analyzing the ridership. We have some, light rail here. And the other aspect for us in Houston is, some of these routes are dangerous. People don't want to ride the rail because it's where, a lot of homeless and people are mentally disturbed, maybe homeless or on these rail cars, and they don't smell nice, and people don't feel safe riding them. So, a lot of complex problems associated with these. And by the way, that Dallas to Houston route that they keep trying to resurrect is estimated to cost over $30 billion.
Well, okay, if it's going to cost, what do they say, $6 billion from Dallas to Fort Worth?
Right.
I don't see $30 billion working from Dallas to Houston.
Yeah. So it's a big price tag, right? And how much? Who knows? It could catch on, and it might be worth the money. But right now, it seems like it's pretty complicated, a complicated process to get these projects on the road.
Yeah, seems like it. Holly, tell folks what else people can find over at the Texan.news.
Well, we are just trying to keep up with everything that's going on. We have a new article up about the Senate race between Ted Cruz and Colin Allred, and so that's a good read over there. Some information about some of the other localities in Texas. The Austin city manager submitting a record $5.9 billion budget proposal. We've got information about Dallas mayor, Republican mayor addressing the RNC convention this week. Just all kinds of great things, and we'd love for your listeners to check us out.
Yeah, absolutely. Holly, as always, appreciate your time, and everyone over at the Texan. You'll do such a great job. We appreciate it, and we'll visit with you all again next week.
Well, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon.
All right, that's Holly Hansen with the Texan.news. When we come back, is Biden out? At least one report says yes. We'll be right back.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Speeding tickets aren't cheap, and they can make your insurance rates go up too. So if you don't remember anything else from this commercial, remember this. Slow down or pay up. Also, if law enforcement pulls you over for speeding, they'll check your license and registration. So be ready for that. Basically, if you ever wonder if speeding is worth it, the answer is pretty obvious. No way. Speeding is dangerous and expensive. So slow down or pay up. Be safe, drive smart. A message from TxDOT.
Back on the Chad Hasty Show. Oh my. What a day. What a day. What a day. Big RNC event. Now, I did have someone on the text line, Rob on the text line, weighing in. Has the convention now been wasted since Republicans attacked Joe Biden and he may not even be the nominee? what else are you going to do? They attacked the policies of the Democrats. They attacked both Kamala Harris and they attacked Joe Biden. I mean, I can't fault anyone. It's been a fantastic convention. It really has been. And they did what they needed to do by attacking Joe Biden and his policies. Listen, the policies of Joe Biden, and this is something that obviously Republicans are going to have to make very clear. His policies are no different from anyone else who may be at the top of the ticket next week. It's the same policies. It's the Democrat policy. It's the nut job policies that are out there. Joe Biden was just the one pushing it. And there are crazier policies than what Joe got through and supported. So the policies, they're still going to be unpopular. They're just going to be repackaged. Now, it could work. And even Ron DeSantis yesterday, he was very, very smart when he said, this isn't done. This is not a done deal. And Democrats are going to try to roll somebody out there that is going to be more appealing, and they're going to see a bump. And I believe he's right about that. So Republicans are going to have to get ready for a battle moving forward. We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media. Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Final hour of the program, a busy show today as well, we just have a lot going on. Obviously have a lot of news that we've been getting into. The news that Newsmax was breaking earlier from Mark Halperin. If you missed that, is that Joe Biden is expected to drop out this weekend, possibly on Sunday, and he will not endorse Kamala Harris. Instead, he is expected to endorse a open primary. And what's even more than that is that it seems as though Democrat forces are pushing him to endorse an open primary. Now, this would not be an open primary for the regular Democrat voters. This would be something where you would see basically a mini primary, maybe a debate or two, where you have Kamala Harris. And if I'm Kamala Harris, I would not participate in a debate. But if you're Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, who knows, maybe Hillary. But a handful of Democrats would basically crisscross the nation trying to get Democrat support and then go into the open convention, and the Democrats, which would be must-watch TV. I mean, it really would. As a political nerd, I would not be able to stay away from watching the Democrat convention. I mean, it would be amazing to watch. I mean, it just, in an open convention like that is quite something. And in fact, I would urge everyone to watch that. I mean, it is a part of history. But the delegates would get to vote. The average everyday delegates would get to vote in round one. And then after that, the super delegates. If there is no winner, the super delegates get to come in afterwards. And that would be the process. The average voter out there, the average Democrat, they would have no say whatsoever in who the nominee is. And the Democrats would basically have about, 3 months to stage a campaign against a very, very well-liked, very well-received in the polls Donald Trump. Which again, I was asked earlier by somebody if I thought the polls were going to get closer, and I do believe they will. The news media, they will treat whoever gets the nomination as the next greatest thing we've ever seen. Make no mistake. The news media, they will not be critical of whoever the nominee is for the Democrats, because the news, they still hate Trump. They're having to be sort of nice right now because they want Joe out, and they've got to go after Joe, and they have to make Trump look good right now because of the assassination attempt. But the news media is in on this. I've been telling you this for weeks now. The news media is in on this. They know the script. They're part of the script. They have helped write the script. CNN has been in on this since prior to the debate. All you have to do is pay attention, and you can see this. You pay attention to what, and I've been watching some of the CNN coverage of the RNC, and let me tell you something. They've been glowing. I mean, it's just, sure, they've taken a few shots at Trump, but overall, it's been glowing from CNN. MSNBC, they're not even there. They've got a fake green screen around them in New York. They're not even there, and they're of course, they don't even believe Trump got shot. They really don't. Joy Reid over on MSNBC, she doesn't believe Trump was shot. She believes it was fake. And a new poll that came out today, 34% of Democrats believe that Trump staged the assassination attempt. These people are nuts. But the news media, they've been in on this. They're still in on this. And they're out for blood. They want to get rid of Joe Biden. They hate Donald Trump. They absolutely hate Donald Trump. Still to this day, they hate the guy. And so whoever gets the nomination, and the Democrat news media, they are not going to be, they're not going to criticize any of these candidates. They're all going to be great. Oh, they're all great. Oh my goodness. Gavin Newsom is wonderful. Oh, Gavin Newsom's wonderful. Oh, Kamala Harris. Oh, she'd be so amazing. Gretchen Whitmer. Oh, she's great too. Oh, they're all wonderful. They're all great people. The news media will swoon over these people. And you'll need to remember that, because this is going to be an all-out assault on the Republicans, on Donald Trump from here on out, after they get someone new on the top of the ticket. And they will talk about how, well, Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or Gretchen or whoever it may be, they're the future. They're the future. This is the future we've been waiting for. This is the future that the United States needs. This is the future of democracy. And don't think for a second there aren't independent voters out there who will believe it. So Republicans, they've been doing a good job in this convention of highlighting, yes, the deficiencies of Joe Biden, but they've also have done a very good job at showing the bad policies of the Democrat Party. Because that's what that's what Trump is going to have to run against, are the policies of the Democrat Party. If Kamala Harris is the nominee, he's going to have a little bit more to aim at. Gavin Newsom, he has screwed up California, but people, for whatever reason, people don't seem to care about that. They like Gavin Newsom. They like that he's younger. They like that he's the future. They like that he can lie to them very easily while stabbing them right in the back. So the news media, trust me, the news media is not going to be critical of the state of California at all. So while right now looks great for Donald Trump and great for the Republicans and really bad for Joe, I don't think it's going to stay this way. I think the news media, they're going to absolutely turn on Trump. So he's got Trump has a big speech tonight. Because he can blunt some of this with his speech this evening. And I think there's a very good chance that he will. But you're still going to have to take on the machine that is the Democrat Party and the machine that is the news media. And remember, the Democrat Party, they have known about Joe Biden and his decline in health. They have known about this since day one. They've known about it since day one. The news media, by and large, they've known about it since day one. They're just mad now that he fumbled the ball during the debate. Some of them are happy because they're able to get him out. But they're mad that that he's been found out. That's what it is. And for those of you who don't think that the Democrat Party is a well-oiled machine, capable of doing whatever they want, just look at how fast they've been able to get the sitting president of the United States to really take his name off the ballot. This is a political coup against Joe Biden. When you have the forces of Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and Chuck Schumer, those are the main ones. And there have been other Democrats who have said that Joe needs to go, but those are the big ones. And remember, Obama's been controlling this anyway behind the scenes. And when he says it's time to go, it's time to go. That's how well-oiled of a machine the Democrat Party is. If they want you out, they'll take you out. 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Let's see. Tucker Carlson is speaking at the RNC tonight. If you plan on watching it on Fox News, find an alternative. They'll cut to commentary like they did with Kim. You probably, if I had to guess, and I need to go and see what time Tucker Carlson speaks. I've got the time. I've got the speaker times pulled up over here. I'll get to that here in a little bit. But I think there's a good chance, unless you're watching C-SPAN, you're probably not going to see Tucker Carlson on TV. If I had to guess, I don't believe any news organization, maybe Newsmax, maybe News Nation, will air his speech, but don't count on it being on a lot of cable news stations. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
Don't ask me what you know is true. Don't have to tell you I love your precious heart. I was standing.
All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate you tuning in today.
Never tear us apart.
It's good stuff right there. That's good. That's good, Nick. Now Nick's in a good mood now. Nick's happy. Well, he is not happy about going home in a little bit and going inside his 90-degree home. Not happy about that. But he's happy about the music. That's good. 806-680-2790. Let's see, texture. Not only are the Democrats upending their own primary, they tried to upend the Republican primary as well. They very nearly got us general election without a candidate chosen by the electorate in either major party. But don't forget, Trump is the threat to democracy. Yeah. Let's see. You can send in your thoughts on the text line, 806-680-2790. Okay, here we go. Here's the Politico list of speakers here. The Times, they try to stick to times, you know. It doesn't always happen very well, but they try. Between 7 and 7:30, Alina Habba, Trump's attorney, will speak, and then Tucker Carlson. So what he said about 7:30? Yeah, you're probably not. You're not going to see that on most, if not all, the cable news channel. Maybe again, if you want to watch Tucker Carlson, you'll either have to watch it afterwards or on C-SPAN, probably. Just saying. Again, so many of these speeches are great, and I wish, I know Fox and CNN, they've got their big anchors there. They're there to, present some commentary. But the political nerd in me, all I want to do is listen to the speeches. I don't care about, Anyway, from 8:30 to 9, or excuse me, from 7:30 to 8, Kerry Ruiz, Trump National Doral Golf General Manager, Hulk Hogan. Between 7:30 and 8 p.m. Annette Albright, a former school teacher and corrections officer in North Carolina, former Democrat. Should be good. I'm telling you, some of the best speeches, the ones that connect to people, and they sadly they're not all in prime time. Like I really would, the Gold Star families from yesterday, that should have been in prime time. That really should have been in prime time. Let's see, 8 to 10 p.m., Franklin Graham, Eric Trump, And then Dana White will be speaking. And then beginning at right around 9 p.m., the Trumpster will be giving his speech, much anticipated speech this evening. A lot of people, obviously, will be watching his speech. And listen, I think, obviously when Trump was shot, he had said that he was redoing his speech because of the assassination attempt on him. But I think he also started redoing his speech because he was going to take a lot of shots at Joe, and he probably still will. But I think Trump knew that Joe Biden was not going to be in this race, that Joe Biden was not going to be at the top of the ticket. And I think the Trump camps, they're smart enough to go, we better make this about policy. We better make this about uniting America, because we don't know who we're running against. Could be Joe. Could be Kamala. Could be Gavin Newsom. Could be Hillary. Could be Gretchen. 806-680-2790. You can send in your thoughts on the text line. Weigh in on any of the topics. Obviously, we were talking a lot about Joe Biden. And the at least some of the stories coming out that he is going to be dropping out this weekend. That's it. It's nothing confirmed, just reports. This is a sad story. That's coming out. Bob Newhart passing away at the age of 94 years old. A very long life. Very funny man. Good man. Bob Newhart, dead at 94 years old. All right. When we come back, your phone calls, your text messages, and more.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. Today's markets from the Texas Department of Ag.
Well, howdy, neighbors. Texas feeder cattle auctions were mixed, reporting prices $2 lower to $8 higher. Cattle futures were down. August live cattle futures down $2.03 to close at $182.25. August feeder cattle futures down $2.32, close at $256.23. July cotton futures up, closed at $71.37. July wheat futures up 3 pennies, closed at $5.63 a bushel. July corn down 7 cents, closed at $3.91. And July soybean futures up a penny, closing at $10.98 a bushel. July soybean meal futures down $1.90, closed at $337.20 per ton. July Class V milk futures up 36 cents, closed at $20.16 a hundred. August crude oil futures down, trading at $82.29 a barrel, and the Dow Jones was down 533 points, closing at 40,664. And that's Market Roundup from the Texas Department of Agriculture. I'm your Commissioner, Sid Miller. And remember, friends, Texas agriculture matters.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. Don't you forget about Chad at Chad Hasty Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on your radio. Now back to the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, welcome back. Chad Easty Show. Appreciate you tuning in today. You can send in your thoughts on the text line at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. If Biden makes it to the DNC convention, can he stay up that late? Well, I don't think he's going to have to worry about it. I don't think he's going to have to worry about it too much at all. 806-680-2790. You can weigh in on the text line. Texter asking when the Democrat convention is. Good question. August 19th is when the convention is. Yeah. Yeah, the 19th through the 22nd in Chicago. So yeah, they've got time, not a lot, but they've got some time to find somebody. They've got some time to run a mini campaign if they want to. Texture, I can't hardly wait for the Democrat convention. We're going to see so many rainbow flags, drag queens, Palestinian flags, Antifa flags, BLM flags. They fully come out of the closet. The beautiful hammer and sickle flag. Yeah, it can happen. You know it's going to be nuts. You just know it's going to be absolutely crazy during the Democrat convention. 806-680-2790. We had a texter earlier, and I apologize with the breaking news and everything. I completely forgot about it. Where was the text? Here we go. Let's see. Phil in Lubbock, and actually Phil sent this in even before the show began. Chad, why don't presidents, candidates, or significant others wear wedding rings? Just curious. That from Phil in Lubbock. Also says if Joe is stepping down, can he still pardon his son, even though he said he wasn't going to? If he's president, he can issue pardons. So until the moment he is no longer president of the United States, yes, he can commute and pardon whoever he wants to. So, just because he said he wasn't going to, Joe lying? Now, you ask about the wedding ring situation. Very interesting question. I actually looked this up because I saw it prior to the show, and I had not actually thought about it. But I looked it up, and it is a thing. Now I didn't look it up for the candidates, for like the first ladies or for candidates themselves. But apparently it is a deal. It is something that presidents do not wear wedding rings. And it comes down to comfort. Comfort and the worry that it will be stolen. And basically, I found a few articles about this that had been written years ago, asking the very same question: why doesn't Barack Obama wear a wedding ring? Why didn't George W. Bush wear a wedding ring? Why does it pops up really during every presidency? Joe Biden, I think he's worn his wedding ring maybe once or twice, but that's about it. And it basically comes down to what many writers have at least opined or written about, is that it comes down to, if you're going to shake hands with as many people as the president shakes hands with, you don't wear a wedding ring. It can be uncomfortable wearing a wedding ring. I've also seen one excuse that they because of the handshakes and everything, they don't want it to get stolen. You think about it, as many times as the president, or normal presidents, go through what they call the rope line, where they go by and they shake hands with people. And you see the Secret Service usually behind them. And the Secret Service usually has, if you watch close enough, the Secret Service is usually right behind the president. And they will have a hand inside the belt of the president. In case anyone was to go and grab the president, they can jerk back real quick and go, no, he's ours. You can't have him. And so you'll see this in a lot of places where the president's walking by and shaking hands, and people are like, woo, Mr. President, woo! And they're all touching him and all that kind of stuff. And you'll see the Secret Service, they've got a hold of his belt. So that way, he doesn't get stolen. He doesn't get kidnapped or anything. Or nobody pulls him down to the ground. Well, if you're wearing a ring, it might be easy for somebody to rip that sucker off when you're going through the line and you're shaking hands and high-fiving people, and someone may try to grab that ring finger and rip that ring off. So that's another part of it. And and I guess you just kind of get used to saying, okay, I'm not going to wear the ring, going to put it away. It's safe and secure. Don't have to worry about anything, that way. But very good question. Very good question. And I looked that up right before the show, and then we had all that breaking news that happened as the Biden turns. And we wanted to get into it. There is some more polling that's being released. A detailed report compiled by Democrats showing the president's forecast to lose in an electoral college landslide has been sending alarm bells through the party's leadership and led to renewed calls publicly and privately for the president to drop out. This is why CNN the other day was saying that Trump could get up to 300, maybe surpass 330 electoral votes as their polls were looking. The data, which was based on voter surveys compiled by a Democrat firm, Blue Rose Research, viewed by the Wall Street Journal, shows Biden losing not only all the swing states, but also behind in New Hampshire, Minnesota, New Mexico, Virginia, and Maine. It also shows Biden leading by only 2.9% in New Jersey. 28% of those who backed Biden in 2020 and 52% of swing voters believe that the Democrat Party has lied about the president's mental fitness. That's a big number. That's a big deal when it comes to fundraising. That's a big deal when it comes back to supporting whoever is next up. The report says voters are likely to view the Democrats' defense of Biden as dishonest by a 2-to-1 margin. The data, which was shared widely with Democrats in recent days, found Kamala Harris performing better than Biden against Trump. It also shows Republican attacks suggesting Harris wasn't honest about the president's health could be effective. As Democrats look for a path forward, the findings showed voters want to see a competitive process to decide an alternative nominee if Biden were to step aside. So that's where you get the open primary concept. And that people they do not trust Kamala Harris. You don't shake hands with your left hand, which is the hand, I don't think, but if you watch a lot of these lines, the president's putting both hands out. He's not going through and shaking hands with everybody. He's, going through and touching a lot of people. It's not the handshake. It is the, he's going through and, high-fiving and doing all that kind of stuff. Another texter, I'm curious if this is going to be a trend in the future. If the Democrat candidate is trailing in the polls, will they then have that person drop out to the point their own candidate and not one that was actually chosen by the people? Sure. Well, they've already done it. They did it with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was ahead in the polls. Bernie Sanders was winning primaries. Bernie Sanders was doing a hell of a job when he was running against Hillary Clinton. But guess what? The superdelegates came in and they said no to Bernie Sanders. So this is not new for the Democrats. Replacing a candidate or ripping the will of the voter away. No, this isn't new. It's late. But no. Democrats have done this before. Democrats did this with Bernie Sanders. They didn't want Bernie Sanders. The party did not want Bernie. The voters wanted Bernie Sanders. And the Democrat apparatus said no. It's got to be Hillary. Again, they're a well-oiled machine. They know how to take take someone out. 806-680-2790. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, we'll wrap it all up as well.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Listen up. It's the fourth quarter. You're almost there. Parents, teachers, counselors, coaches, your boys just turned 18, but they need one more push. Don't let them forget to register with the Selective Service System. It's required by law, and if they don't register, they'll miss out on many important federal benefits. Say it with me. SSS.gov. SSS.gov. Let's get them registered today.
On the Chad Hasty Show as we begin to wrap things up. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let's see here. All right, this is from out of Politico. The headline, why the big boot Biden House Dem wave isn't here yet. Listen to this quote. Privately, half dozen House Democrat lawmakers and senior aides described a writing on the wall moment. Many lawmakers already skeptical that individual statements could change the president's mind, and now, with potentially changing the tune, potentially changing from within the White House, they believe there's even more reason to sit back and just wait. Quote, why pull out your knife if he's already bleeding out, unless you want to make a point of it at home? Ouch. 806-680-2790. Nick, how hot do you think it'll be inside your home when you get back today?
I'm thinking probably it's been 83 the past few days.
So it's getting lower.
A little bit. It's getting a little lower. Better than 86.
Yeah.
Is what I tell myself as I cry.
Have
quietly.
They sent anyone to fix it yet?
I'm told.
Yeah.
Someone will arrive tomorrow.
Okay.
To fix it. Now, is this over 3 weeks since this first started happening? Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm told someone's coming out. Hopefully they can take a look at it and get this back up and running on a good Texas summer, because everyone loves AC. I'm starting to miss it, which is sad.
You're starting to miss what?
AC. I'm starting to miss the feeling of being cool.
Yes.
And comfortable.
Yeah.
At home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, you are much more patient than I am.
Well, so recently, I believe you asked the question, what do most people keep their thermostat set at? And I was seeing some of those responses. I was surprised. There's quite a few. Well, there's a couple that were in the 80s.
Sure.
I think someone said 81 that they keep their thermostat.
Yeah.
That's bold. That's bold. See, I do that right now, but not by choice. That's just what happens.
You're trying to make yourself feel better.
I am. That's exactly what I'm doing.
You're trying to make yourself feel better by saying, well, other people.
Exactly. Because I'm like 83.
But that's what they're either comfortable with or because it costs so much damn money to, run the AC that's what, they have to deal with.
I think you're right. It's a difference between, I didn't choose to, this is not
this life. You didn't choose this life.
It literally chose me. I was kicking and screaming, but it chose me.
Yeah.
So, your
landlord's been very apologetic?
He has never apologized. He's never apologized for it.
Yeah.
I don't want to go ahead and just expect apologies because who knows? Every time something like this happens, I always think to myself, there's always a small part of me that thinks it could be something that I did. I think that about everything. So that's what's making me hold on like, okay, could be my fault.
Yeah.
And then I'm the one who owes an apology because I'm making him, he has to spend money to pay for the guy to come out and all that. So
tomorrow they're supposed to take care of it.
They're supposed to come out and see it. Taking care of it, I hope. But we'll see.
Before the show?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly before the show. If it is, I'll give you a full report on how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have people who want to know. That's all I'm saying. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Follow me on social media at Chad HD Radio. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless you all. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 5 p.m.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.